Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker and Scott Kirshner. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. Once again, 419-794-3030. Online, americasretirementheadquarters.com. Here's a question for you. What's your relationship with your money? Are you conservative? Do you spend too much? Nobel-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman conducted a study showing that we make financial decisions based on 90% emotion and only 10% logic. There's that E word again, creeping into the picture. If you follow that model, how could that get you in trouble in retirement?
It absolutely can get you in trouble from all phases, especially in retirement. You know, retirement probably the biggest one because it doesn't allow you the luxury of time to make up for mistakes. So, I think as a 46-year-old, I've probably made some emotional decisions in my life that I look back and I say, lesson learned.
Sure.
But retirement, you get kind of one shot at it. So you've got to really be careful not to allow your emotions to get involved in making those investment decisions. The kind of ways that you do that is you want to really identify, clear long-term goals. So you want to use logic to make these decisions. Oftentimes, if we look at the process that we go through the independent income system, we'll have money set aside in different buckets. And one of those buckets might be for long-term growth, and that could be your stock market money. Well, if you don't need that particular bucket for 10 or 15 years, what happens today in the stock market doesn't have as big of an impact. And I think, to me, the problem with the emotional aspect is, most people got up and they went to work every single day, and you worked your 9 to 5 or whatever your shift was. You received your paycheck. You got used to having a consistent paycheck, and then you transition into retirement time, and all of a sudden, you have a big lump sum of money, and, having a nest egg of money and picking at it is not really a logical strategy. That's why you want to go through and kind of figure those things out. When you look at it, also that transition from the working years to retirement, when we go through the planning process, we identify through our team approach issues like taxes, estate planning, asset protection, money management. And within those, there might be a lot of different things that need to get done. So what you have to do is you have to begin to prioritize which of those items that you want to have happen, and then make sure that you consult with a professional. And I would think the same probably applies, Scott, when you're looking at things and helping folks make healthcare decisions. It can be dangerous to make an emotional decision with your healthcare choice.
Absolutely. One of the things that happens with that is, you've seen these commercials, and, everybody comes in that I talk to. They said, oh, well, I see these commercials where I talk to somebody, and I'm so confused. I'm just so tired of this. I just don't know what to do. So I just pulled the trigger and called on this. And I've had that happen. The good thing with Medicare and with health insurance is you have that one free do-over from, January 1st to March 31st, which is the open enrollment period. So, Nolan, I want to ask you this. So let's say that I receive I retire, I receive a plop or a lump sum of money, and I decide to put it into some sort of mechanism with you, and you work out your independent income system, and then I get questions. Or let me back up. Let's say that I invested with somebody else because I didn't know what I was doing, and I was nervous, and it was an emotional boom. I give them all my money. How often do you see people actually make changes to their plans, and can you make changes anytime for your investments? I mean, are you flexible enough to do that with your investments, or what if you get into a product that's got you have got to keep the money in there for 5 years or something like that? Does that happen?
Yeah, so lots of great questions there, Scott.
I know. I threw all kinds of them at you.
And I would say, at the end of the day, it sounds like the answer would be it depends, right? So you really, based upon all the different things that you were asking, first of all, when you make a decision to retire, you've made some decisions about that date. You've probably made some decisions about what to do with your 401k, as you mentioned, your lump sum pension, or whether you take it as a monthly payout. Hopefully you're talking with a financial professional before you're making those decisions about what to do. I had met somebody earlier, and he had talked about his 401k, And when I looked at the statements, what he had showed me is the fact that this account was an after-tax account. I said, well, a 401k is usually a tax-deferred retirement vehicle. And he said, well, I decided to cash it out and just invest it on my own. Well, what he didn't realize is by cashing it out, his 401k, that's a taxable event.
Sure.
He's got a massive tax bill you're going to have to pay. You could have invested it through what is called like a direct rollover, which would not have been a taxable decision. The decision of taking the lump sum versus the monthly payout, you'd have to run the numbers. You'd have to look at things like life expectancy and survivorships. Sometimes it's better to take the monthly payout. I think some of the offers that are out there to have that consistent monthly paycheck on a reliable income source can make a lot of sense to take it for either that retiree's lifetime or to cover a spouse or a certain number of years called period certain. Other cases, the offer is so low and maybe they have other financial assets that they can take the lump sum, still have it invested, yet be able to have some money that they could leave to, their children, because usually a pension is gone after both husband and wife are gone unless you have that period certain. So all of these things, they kind of factor in making those decisions. And then, I think if you took things slow, you would probably be less likely to make changes. So your last question was, if I make a decision, can I quickly or easily make a change?
Sure.
And again, that depends. So like if you put your money into liquid investments like stocks and bonds, the answer most likely is yes. But then my follow-up before you do that would be, did you pay a commission to make those investments? Again, I just recently met with somebody, and all of their money, he retired about a year ago. So talk about what a challenging year he's had this year. All of his money, this investment firm charged him an upfront sales charge on transferring his money over into the IRA. And so his question is can I change? And the answer is yes, he can. But he already paid a sales charge a year ago, so we'll have to do further analysis to determine whether that's in his best interest or not.
Right.
Some products, like you talk about, things have illiquidity feature. There's things that have surrender charges. So all that has to be really kind of factored in to a tailored approach. And this is why I think it becomes so important for those of you that are listening that if you're, within 5 years of retirement, to sit down and have a conversation with somebody, whether it's our firm or somebody else who specializes in retirement, it's going to be a lot easier to make a better educated decision when you take time to work through all of these areas versus when all of a sudden the shock of losing your job, you thought you were going to continue working, and that's when you get into this emotional battle of making a lot of poor decisions. So bottom line, here's the summary. Understand that your emotions can affect your judgment. You want to focus on the facts rather than your feelings. And you want to use the past to identify some of the lessons that you've learned in life to now help you make smart decisions going forward. Doing those things and, getting a plan in place before something happens is going to allow you to make a better decision.
The one thing that you mentioned, I think it rings true with me as well with Medicare and health insurance is whatever you do, just make sure that you reach out to Nolan or myself and make sure that you have someone that is in the business, a professional in the business that can at least give you some guidance and move forward with, don't let your emotions try to hit that 10% logic if at all possible.
I want to zero in on something that Nolan said there. Whether you do work with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters or not, you want to, at this stage of the game, find someone who specializes in retirement because the rules are vastly different, as I think longtime listeners and viewers are quite aware at this point. It's different in retirement versus the working world when the focus is on accumulation, and now it is making that money last. So finding someone who knows the ins and outs as it pertains to retirement, because it's different, and not knowing the rules to this new game could be pretty catastrophic one way or another. So pick up the phone, give a call, and schedule a time to speak with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters. 419-794-3030 is how you do it. Have a little bit of that emotional detachment when it comes to your retirement plan, but still having a plan And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. 419-794-3030. Online, americasretirementheadquarters.com.